Today we are going to solve a percent problem specifically with variables. And there's a couple different ways to do this. So I will explain multiple ways so that you guys can understand. Our problem says the amount of money in a bank account increased. Very important. I'm actually going to underline that here. Increased by 21.5% over the last year. If the amount of money at the beginning of the year is represented by N, which expression represents the amount of money in the bank account after the increase? Now, if you are familiar with our equation that we can use to solve percent problems, I'm just going to quickly discuss that right here. Now, the equation that I use is quantity equals percent times whole. Okay. And in this equation right here, our percent is labeled as a decimal or fraction. You're going to see me write it as a decimal. I believe it's much easier to type in your calculator and get the answer than it would be if we used a fraction. Fractions are oftentimes, especially on phone calculators, very difficult to type in. Our whole represents our, probably should use a different color here, our whole represents our original amount, the amount that we are starting with. Think if you were going to go to a store and you were going to get something that was on a discount, the original price before the discount would be representative of the whole. And my quantity is going to be the answer. Now, very important that these two, the quantity and my percent, are referring to the same thing. So if my percent here is my percent of discount or my discount rate, then that means my quantity is going to represent the amount of discount. And this works for every single thing we are going to be solving with percent. If I know the percent of my sales tax, I'm going to find the amount of my sales tax. It's not going to tell me the new amount after adding sales tax. It's just going to tell me exactly how much sales tax would be. So let's quickly go back to our problem right here and take a look. We are increasing by 21.5%. And we also know N in this problem, which is the amount of money at the beginning of the year. So looking at my problem, my quantity and my percent and whole, I am given two pieces of information. The first one I'm going to look at is my variable, which is the money at the beginning of the year. This represents my original amount. We'll call that N. Now there's two ways to really solve this problem. So let's first discuss using 21.5%. This is not going to give me my answer because my answer wants to know the amount of money after the increase. But the 21.5% is only the percent of which it is increasing by. So if I decide to use 21.5%, I'm just going to quickly divide it by 100 to change it into a decimal. I am not really solving for my new amount. I am solving for Q, which is the amount of increase. So in this problem right here, we have actually found out how much this is actually increasing by. This is increasing by 21.5%. Here it is, the amount that we are increasing by. So if I now know the amount we are increasing by, how much more money is in this bank account, I of course need to add it on to the original amount. My original amount is n. So I'm going to add on 0.1, oops, not 1, 0.215n. And that is what it's going to look like. And this is actually going to show me the answer in this problem of my answer choices is answer choice A. But please be aware that may not be what the answer choice looks like. I always could take these two and combine my like terms. 1n plus another 0.215n could also give me 1.215n, which kind of brings me to the second part of this second method of solving this problem, is by looking at it as not solving for the amount of increase, but instead saying how much money is now in that bank account. And to do that, I'm just going to scroll down here just 1 second and do a little bit of explaining. Originally in my bank account, we have all my money, 100% of the money. That is all the money that's there, all money. But that's not all. We're adding 21.5% more, increasing the amount of increase, right? Actually, the percent of increase in this problem. So really, how much money is going to be there now? All the money plus even more money gives us 121.5%. How much money in there now? In the bank now. And we can take this number, and when we are setting up our formula, we can use that percent instead. 121.5% times my original amount. And that is going to also require a little bit of solving because none of these answer choices match that. Do a quick math here. Can I add those together? That would, choice B would give me 225%. That is way too much. Same thing with choice D. That is, wow, that's even more. 2,150%. Actually, that would be that as well. Lot of percent right there. The only one that makes sense in this problem is the answer choice A.